Good morning, my friends. It was 4th of July. I'm up early, and I thought, why not get to the Rin guide? So here I am, and this is our next in our build guide series. Let me know, by the way, what other characters you want me to prioritize. I've got some requests for you and Leo next, so just drop it in the comments. And we're going to cover her kit today. I don't have her on my global account. I do have her on my KR account, but I'm going to try to do this from global so you see the actual names of skills and awarenesses as you would see it on the global client. So hopefully this works out. Worst case, I can switch clients and show you a couple things, not a big deal. And so with that, a like and a sub would be greatly appreciated and help grow the community. And let's just dive right in. So Rin is our curse / debuff unit. Really great and fantastic. You've heard us probably talk a lot about her in regards to being a great pair for example, Joker. And it's really because she has the ability to increase the curse damage an enemy takes. So this is why, when we talk about synergistic pairings, this is why she and Joker go together, as well as our other curse dealer. And so very simply, up to chance when attacking a foe with more than 50% HP, increase foe's curse damage taken by 10%. So it's just a flat boost to curse damage, which obviously Joker's doing and she does on her kit as well. If we go into our other passive, then we'll jump into the awareness. Increase attack by 1% for every 2 points of Yelling's speed, up to 30%. This character you're going to build around speed. Her whole kit revolves around speed. And so this is just giving you some extra attack for, playing into that mechanic. So let's talk about our A0. I'm going to try to cover A0s from now on in the guides just to kind of get you more briefed into the character. On Yelling's action, gain 1 memory stack for every 10 points of speed. She is a speed-based character, and so you want to play into this memory. So you get more and more speed. She gets memory faster and faster. Up to 18 stacks per turn. When memory reaches 40 stacks, you spend it all to gain Mengpo Soup. Mengpo Soup is basically going to enable special effects on her powers that we'll show as we cover the skills, but also increases her chance to inflict forget. If you don't know what forget is, it's an ailment and it makes the enemy not able to use skills. You're not necessarily going to force this that often. It's going to come when it comes, but there are a couple fights, particularly one I think of in the Velvet Room where you fight a Dominion and another enemy. And if you can land forget on that fight, it doesn't make it free, but it reduces the amount of damage coming in so significantly that you can breathe. And that fight can be a harder one in the series. And so this can be very, very powerful. Certainly, something that you're going to like when it goes off, but you're not necessarily doing everything for forget. It's just nice to have when it happens. So that's her awareness 0. Awareness 1, at the start of battle, gain 1 Mengpo's soup stack. So you're starting off with this extra, ability, or not ability, but this extra effect for your abilities. Very nice to have, but like all standard characters, I'll just tell you right now, I wouldn't chase her because she's on the standard banner. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. Level 2 awareness increases attack by 10% for each debuff inflicted on foes. Not too bad. Stacks up to 5 times. You get a nice little damage boost out of this. Next, you've got your pretty typical, your skills can go up higher in awareness 3. Awareness 4. This is for the highlight. Increased damage taken effect by 20%. We'll talk about the extra skill in a second. And inflict curse on all foes for 2 turns. A curse is your status effect that causes a 1% dot for 2 turns on the enemy, and it can stack up. Increase all skill levels for Underworld Fairy and Flowers. So again, awareness 5 is just another, you can go higher in your skill ranks. And then awareness 6, our final. When spending the Mengpo Soup, you increase the party's curse damage by 20%. So again, this is great for someone like Joker. For 1 turn, also 60% chance to gain 1 Mengpo Soup stack. This effect won't activate again on the next turn. So you can kind of like recycle your Mengpo. You're never going to chase, or I hope you're not chasing 6 awarenesses on a standard banner. But when you get there, if you happen to get there just by pulling naturally, it's a great, added benefit to the character. Let's cover our skills. So predominantly, you're going to be using skill 1 and skill 3. So skill 1 is Underworld Fairy. This deals curse damage to all the foes equal to 40% of attack and decreases their defense by 3% for every 10 points of speed. And again, remember, we want to build this character for speed, so you want to get this going. And that goes up to almost 30%. So a really potent defense debuff. And this will stack with things like Raccoonda or, other characters that have specially named powers that decrease defense, or, like the marked thing from Janosik. This will stack with those things. So really, potent to stack these effects. You also gain 4 memory stacks for each foe attack. So obviously in an AoE situation, you're going to get more of these memory stacks. Lion Dance of Oblivion, deal curse damage to all foes equal to 51% of attack and inflict Red Spider Lily for 2 turns. When spending the soup, the damage increased effect of the Red Spider Lily is doubled. Red Spider Lily increases damage taken by foes for 3% for every 10 points of speed, up to 27.5%, lasts 2 turns or until the enemy takes damage 2 times. So again, this is just another debuff, and really the thing to focus on here is that you're going to be doing more damage to the enemy for, a couple of hits. So it can be 2 turns. So if you're running, say, a single target unit, they're the only one attacking, then it will last 2 turns. Otherwise, it's just, if you have, say, Joker attack, and then, I don't know, you drop a burn with cattle, that's your second damage piece there. But either way, you're increasing damage taken. So you've got defense down, you're increasing damage taken. It's a great, combination of debuffs. And so really in practice, you're just alternating skill 1, skill 2, skill 1, skill 2. If you've ever seen me on the KR streams, that's exactly what I'm doing. Her skill 2, it's not useless by any means, it's just not typically used. You don't have a lot of situations where you specifically want to call to this power. But you deal curse damage, and if the foe has a debuff, increase damage by 20%. When spending the soup, you inflict Forget for 2 turns, and if they're inflicted with Forget or another spiritual ailment, increase the damage taken by 2% for every 10 points of speed up to a certain amount. In practice, this is more of you really want a better chance of landing your Forget, almost said fear. Your Forget, you would go to this power here, but I would say 90% of the time you're just alternating skill 1 and skill 3 for like a rotational sort of a thing. This keeps your debuffs going, it keeps the damage output higher on your team because you've got these debuffs going, and this is going to enable you more than the occasional need to throw a Forgets, in a particular fight. And you still have the chance to get Forgets, from using your skills over here. So it's not like you can't get a Forget, it's just that this is the way that you ensure that you're getting your Forgets. As far as her highlight, you deal curse damage, and then you increase the target's damage taken by 32%. So this is, obviously a good one. Anytime you can increase damage taken, it's a good day. So her kit's pretty good. I enjoy using this character. She's not one necessarily that in the current game you're going to see, top in, tier charts. But something I like to remind people is that state of the game is a very long way away. It's a year away from now. And, for this time period, for quite a few months, you don't have like this giant stable of debuffers in your team. You're also at what might be arguably the height of Joker's career in the sense that he's your first predominant, 5-star unit. Or if you're using the other curse unit, again, she still pairs with him. And so if you did pull Joker and you happen to have pulled Rin, this combo is fantastic right now. And so, don't shy away from building any character, not just Rin, but any character because of a meta that's, a year away from now. Of course, those characters are going to be better. It's a gacha game. They're going to have power creep and incent you to get these characters. But I would still say she is very useful. And this combination here is just fantastic of the amount of debuffs that this will drive against the enemy. So again, don't shy away from using her. Let me run over to EY's shop. I'll cut back in and let's talk about her weapons. Okay, so here we are in the shop. This is our 4-star weapon. Pretty basic as most 4-stars are. Increase attack by 12%. After inflicting a debuff, increase speed by 8 for 2 turns. Stacks up to 2 times, so 16 if you're doing the math. This is at the base level. Of course, if you level this up, your effects are greater. Pretty straightforward, but pretty good because it plays right into what she does, which is increasing speed. How does that compare to a 5-star? Let's pull it up on the banner here. Oh my god, so many menus to escape out of. All right, so Dream Pick, and if I pop over, I'll be able to find her weapon in here. And this one, increased speed by 15, so you just got a flat increase again. After attacking a foe with a skill, inflict Waters of Oblivion. This is a new effect. Foes take increased damage based on speed. Increases foes' damage taken by 1.2% for every 10 of Yowling's speed for 1 turn. Increases her speed by 15 for 2 turns. And then after spending the soup to use a skill on a foe, inflict this effect on all foes, so it becomes AoE. So this is a good upgrade. All the 5-stars are good upgrades. We've talked about this. But, when I'm thinking about chasing the banner, this is one of the ones higher kind of in my priority list. Because you're, really going to get these from losing 50/50s predominantly, I wouldn't say go chasing down standard banner character weapons on a limited character weapon. If you get it as a consolation prize, feel good about it. Otherwise, yeah, you don't really chase specifically these weapons. But if you are doing your targets and you're saying which ones do I want to pick, you know, maybe you picked Ons from the weapon selector in the book 2, I would toss Ren's in here. It's one I would put in here. You know, some others I've talked about, but she's definitely a target that you can go for if you're using her specifically. Obviously you wouldn't go for her without that, but it's a good weapon. It's, you know, none of the 5-star ones for the standard banners again are worth chasing, but put it up as your consolation prize if you like using the character. Otherwise, pick up a 4-star. They've given us quite a few weapon cases at this point. And you can also, if you don't know, in case I haven't seen one of the other videos, you can pick up the 4-stars from his shop. So if you go for 4-star weapons, even your limited characters will be in here. So here's hers right there. They cost 10 of these little green gecko coins, which you can get in various places, you know, within the game. You get some from ranking up confidants. You get some, you know, from different areas in the game. So for example, like when you watch the anime cutscenes, so you get some of these. They're not like you're going to get 1,000 a month, but enough that if you really want to grab her 4-star that you could. That's her weapon. So yes, it's an upgrade. No, I don't think you should chase it because again, standard banner character, you're trying to lose a 50-50 for a feature character. Seems kind of strange for me. I'll have to do some cuts in here so I can move cards around to show you this, but ignore the fact that I'm sitting, you know, on this character. It's obviously I don't have her, so I can't show you this on her. But the first set I would look into is the Dominion and Departure. This is such a weird name site. The Departure and Control. I think they need to fix some translations here. But effectively, the 4-piece set isn't amazing necessarily. The 4 is a little bit okay because she does do okay damage. She's not a main damage dealer, but she does help quite a bit. But it's the, you know, full set that you're looking at here, which is when attacking with a skill, decrease main target's defense by 23% for 2 turns. And so remember, you can stack a lot of these effects, and this is just another example of a place you can add additional defense down. And it just really plays well into her kit of just knocking down enemy stats. I mean, that's really what you want to do so you can enable your damage. And then our other one over here, again, let me switch some cards around, but I'll show you. All right, so the other set that I like here is the, again, we'll use the Departure card, but then Prosperity, which they're calling Abundance over here. Figure that out. But this one has a couple cool things. One, in the 4-piece, at the start of battle, fill the highlight gauge by 25%. So you're going to get into your highlights faster, you know, whether you want to use Joker's or hers, whatever makes sense for your battle. It's a great effect to start with. And then for the full set, after attacking a foe, increase party's damage by 8%. So, you know, it's kind of the opposite side of decreasing the defense. You're going to increase the offense. I think either of these can be a great set for her. She's meant to help support your team in a sense and help debilitate the enemy. And so either one can go very well for her. Now, as far as your main stats go, Sun, same story as always. You're going to go with HP because that's what it gives you. I want her to 5 more, so I would, you know, push into HP percent for, you know, your second card here for Moon. And again, these are just random cards I threw on my character, so ignore them. For Star, this is another good HP percentage. Just get her to survive a little bit more. And then for Sky or Planet, it's a weird translation again. For this one, you're going to want speed. So again, you want to juice up her speed as much as you possibly can. And then for your substats, your party really is speed first. So that's kind of like your main stat of the substats. And then you want defense percent, so nicely shown right there. Damage bonus percent or attack multiplier percent as it's called here. And then attack percent. That's kind of your order. So again, that's speed, defense percent, attack multiplier plus, I keep wanting to say, you know, damage bonus percent, and attack percent for your final piece, you know, is kind of like the perfect card, if you will. All right, for mental image, unfortunately, we do not have that in global yet, or at least it's not something I've unlocked. And so I've got to come over to my KR client to show you this. Not a big deal, but I want this to be complete for you for later. And so if I pull this up here, so you'll see I haven't filled it out for her. These resources can be quite rare, especially these top ones here. So you do want to pick and choose who you level this for. You're going to want to start here. So this is your skill 2 and 3. Then you're going to move over to, this is skill 1 and highlight. Sorry about translations not coming through. Oh, there we go. And the names are going to look different than global anyways. Then you move into your offensive percentages, you move into your increase in effect, and then this is just your, these bells are a lot more common, so it's just, you know, bumping up some stats. So 1, 2, 3, 4 when you get there, if you're going to be putting these mats into them. And it's really once you start getting to those purple mats that these get a lot more rare. So do that with caution. I wouldn't just throw them on anybody just for the heck of it. Make sure you know who you're planning for. All All right, so we're back on my global client to talk about the, should you pull? And as it will be the case probably for most, if not all of the standard characters, I'm going to tell you should not target and chase after her with your limited resources. I would say that if you pick her up on the journey of your standard pulls, that's fantastic. And something to note is in your contracts, when you do this banner on the bottom for the first time up to 300, you have the ability to pick one of these characters. Because you can ultimately get these 3 from other places, I would pull for her in this situation. Not that Haruna's useless, it's just that I would prefer Rin over her. And so this is a great place if you get to this point that you've done 300 pulls and haven't gotten her, to get her. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I went for, 80 pulls to get all the way to pity. And I ended up getting another on dupe, which isn't the worst thing, but I was chasing Rin, and I'm just going to hold now. I'm going to hold until, a couple other banner units come out and make it into this pull before I pull some more, because I'd like to get those as well. And so if you get her, awesome, build her. You don't have to just use her with the Joker team. And if you don't get her, you're not busted. It's not like your Joker's not going to work or your other Crystal Image Dealer's not going to work. Matter of fact, if I show you, my team right now, because a lot of you have asked, what are my parties? My Joker party is not that. It's unfortunately oversaved it. Is actually Leon. That's not Leon. This is my Joker party right now. Granted, I, sometimes will switch out my personas, but this is what I'm using for him in terms of my actual units themselves. It's Joker, Leon is buffing him, so instead of getting all those debuffs, I'm just supercharging him with buffs, and then Cattle's my healer. Sometimes I'll switch him out for Soy. I actually like Soy better in this slot. And so I'll run something like this. So, if you want to know how to build teams, check out some of my other videos. They talk about, if you don't have this character, go with that character. But if you get her, absolutely build her. She is going to be one of your better debuffers right now and will be for a while until obviously more units come out. And, play with the roster that you've got. But don't chase her. Don't go on that standard banner, trying to go 300 deep right now. I would recommend, if you're doing this in the early global life, that you wait for, possibly Miriam, who will be, coming out here in just a few days actually. And then, possibly Vino to come on the standard banner. Let some of these other units roll in. So that way, as you're going, you're pulling these other 4-stars that are fantastic or chances into other 5-stars. And then if you get to the 300, she would be my target unit for that. But that's it. That is my Rin guide. Hopefully it brought you value and helped you. And if it did, I would love a like and a sub on the video. Helps me tremendously, helps this get out to more people, and helps the community grow. So all wonderful things, of course. And until our next video or stream, my friends, please take care of yourselves.